everybody. How are you today? Good, good. Excellent, even. Great. What a wonderful conference it's been so far. I've met so many startups with so many great technologies, and I think a lot of you have been a part of great technology and delivering that to the market. But what we want to talk a little bit about is why do some of those things not land in the way that they should, and how can we get them to actually land better in organizations, hospitals, companies that want to adopt our technology and actually use it. We always show up to a new client with the technology and we know it's going to solve their problems, but why doesn't it actually just land there and solve their problems? Well, that's what we want to kind of explore today. Let's first look at how many of you have worked on a technology project in the past, either delivered technology or been at an organization where a new technology is being implemented, and it just didn't land quite the way that it should? So quite a few hands. And I've spent the last 10, 15 years of my career working in projects like this, and I thought the train was a pretty good illustration of sometimes that these projects just don't do what they're supposed to do. They're even as bad as saying that it's a train wreck, where actually the technology is delivered to improve lives. I mean, we don't do anything but try to improve lives with our technology. And sometimes it actually does the opposite. People get frustrated, people get angry, people get sad, people don't understand why things have to change. It's always been so good in the past. So we want to explore this a little bit and try and figure out where's the disconnect. We have a great technology that is being delivered to these organizations and companies, yet the response of it is just not landing quite the way it should. So the first is the easiest. We have people in organizations that are just unaware. They don't know what they don't know. There's something going on somewhere far away. It doesn't touch me. It doesn't matter. But we actually need them to be part of the change. They're not involved. So they know it's happening, but they're not being asked to be involved, yet they're expected to use the technology or learn from the technology. And finally, they're disengaged. So actually, we're talking to them. We're saying, will you use this technology? We want you to use this technology, and they don't care. So why is that? Where does this disconnect come from? Well, the truth is that we're not starting at a zero position. We bring a technology to a company, and we think, it's perfect. It's going to work. It's going to change lives. It's going to change the productivity of the company. But in all reality, we're actually starting at a negative spot. And what do we mean by that? If we look at employee engagement as an example from across the world, we see that we start with 15% of people who are actively disengaged. So that means that they're not just disengaged, they're actively disengaged. They're fighting against you. They're saying, this is not what we want, we like the old way, and please bring it back. So that's always the challenge that we start with. Then you have 22% of people who are passive. So these people can be kind of swayed one way or the other, but they don't really care what you do, but they're just going to either talk to their friends who are actively disengaged or they're going to talk to their friends who are engaged. You have to manage that. Then we have 39%, so the majority, moderately engaged. But they're not engaged in your technology. They're engaged in their work. They're engaged in getting their thing done. So we need to make sure that we take them into consideration as well. And so finally, we come to our highly engaged employees, 24%. So these are your advocates. These are your ambassadors. These are the people that are actually going to take your technology forward and implement it in a meaningful way. So we're actually looking at these 24% and asking them to pull the rest along with us. It's quite a big job. So what do we think? How are we going to change this? What can we do? Well, let's look at the individual. What's driving them personally? And let's talk to that individual and figure out how can we engage them in this process. Well, first of all, we need to think about their needs. First of all, they desire security. If you're going to play with their security of is my job in jeopardy, is my data in jeopardy, those types of things, we need to be careful with making them feel secure in a process. They need belonging. They need to feel like they're a part of the process. They need to feel like they can interact with each other and be a part of something bigger than themselves. They need recognition. They need to feel important. So often, IT projects come into an organization and say, this is how you will work from now on. And people say, hey, what do you mean? That's not what I think is important. I need to be part of this process. And if you don't take that into consideration, it gets really, really challenging to kind of get that engagement from people. They need to contribute. They want to help. They want to be a part of the process. They want to say, hey, I've got an idea. I want to help in this and give you all what I have in making this business a success or this organization. So we need to give them that opportunity. We need to inspire and make people excited about what we're doing. So often, IT projects, they lose the energy. They become quite, just a new process, a new technology, something that people need to learn about, and they have to do it a certain way. Well, actually, implementing technology is an opportunity to excite the organization, to get them alive about what actually is possible for the future. And finally, people, they strive to learn and grow. They want to be constantly evolving. They want to be growing. They want to be learning about what changes. And that's what's so wonderful about this conference, is you see that all these startups and companies are striving for that growth and that learning. The people back in the organizations that we're implementing into, they have that same desire as well. So what can we do? Well, at Learn, Adapt, Build, what we think we can do and what we always strive to do is integrate emotional intelligence management in a deliberate way into every project that we do. Make sure that we're taking people down a journey, a path of least resistance, making sure that people get engaged and are actively taken care of with their emotional needs, with the needs that make them tick as individuals. And everybody has different levels of those needs. So we need to be flexible in making sure that we speak to each individual in a way that makes sense for them. So it gives them a flexible way of attaching themselves to the project. So it starts with a vision and sponsorship. If you don't have the right sponsor within the company or the organization that you're implementing into, we say even, yeah, maybe you don't want to do that project. It is so important to have this key director, boss, sponsor who's helping to develop and build that vision and make sure that people get attached to that vision and inspired by that vision. Without that vision, without that goal, the project perishes. It falls apart. Second is managing your stakeholders. People need to hear from you, and they need to hear from you often, and they always need to be linked back to that vision. They would like to hear from the sponsor if possible, whenever possible, but it's about constant communication with the stakeholders to make sure that people are engaged with what's going on within the organization. We need to build these programs to be inspiring and connected and make sure that people see it, but they actually get goosebumps when they think about what we're trying to do as an organization, when they think about all the possibilities and the goals of what we're trying to do, because that's what drives engagement. That's what drives people to get really connected with something, is when they can relate to it, but they see how it's important and they get inspired by it. Engage the team continuously. So always be working with the team. Always be thinking about how can I create ambassadorships and get people to talk to each other about the topic. And it's not always easy, but it's absolutely imperative that everybody is continuously talking with each other. We need to meet our goals in efficiency. The technology that we implement says what it's going to do on the box, and we need to make sure that we're showing the organization that it does what it says it's going to do. So we continuously need to be communicating out what we're trying to do, what the goal is, what the vision, and think about how we can link it back to the goals and the efficiency. And finally, continuous feedback, improvement, and celebration. Everybody likes a party. Everybody wants to hear what they've done well, what's going well. And they need to have feedback to say, thank you, you've done an amazing job in helping us implement this, you've done an amazing job in using it, but people want to feel important in the process of implementing technology and using technology. So the food for thought that if I could bring to any of you is, we were speaking with the facilitators of the conference of what kind of knowledge can we give all of you that would help to support you and bring value to you in building your companies and delivering technology to organizations. And it's really those 6 basic needs that every individual has. And we need to build our programs to align to these. If we don't build our programs to align to these, we get ourselves into a challenging position because people disconnect. So are we making people feel secure? Do people not have fear for their job? Do people feel like their data is being taken care of? Do they feel like it's being done for the right reason, that the motivations of the project are actually beneficial for them and not detrimental to them? So we need to make sure that we communicate that out to people, that we are taking care of them, that they're secure in this project. Is there a sense of belonging? Do we facilitate that they can speak with each other? Do we facilitate that they can work with each other in certain ways and get connected to the project? Because everybody likes that interconnected with each other. They like that interconnection. Recognition. Are we recognizing that people are contributing and they're helping and they're supporting? If we recognize that they're contributing and recognize that they're important in this process, it's absolutely an energy generator. Those people feel great when somebody around them or even above them actually have said, wow, you're really important to this process, and please help us to achieve this. Are we allowing them to contribute? Are we listening to them? Are we actually saying, what do you need in order to be successful? What do you need in order to deliver on the promises that we've made to the organization? What do you need in order to use this in a proper way? So are we allowing them the space to contribute and speak to us about the technology and the way that we use the technology and the way that we implement? Are we making it exciting and inspiring for people? Are we saying, this is something big that we're working towards, and you're a part of it, and this is where we're going, and that's the goal, and this is the vision? Are we making it exciting? And finally, are we giving them space to learn and grow? In all of these processes, there's opportunity to grow, there's opportunity to learn from each other, and this is where we need to absolutely play into our individuals and make sure that we're listening to them and taking care of them. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that this helps you think about the emotional intelligence side of implementing projects. And really, let's make engagement important again.
You're a very efficient man.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay.
We have time for questions or comments at this stage, actually. Does anyone have a question or comment at this stage? Tomatoes, roses, underwear, anything you'd like to throw at this stage? On this stage? Anything, anyone at this stage?
Nothing.
If not, I'd love to ask you a question.
Sure.
Because when you say in your headline that technology isn't enough, and you gave this presentation, do you currently feel that the kind of apps and gadgets that are being developed, to what extent are they typically really hitting the main points that we need to, or is there too much technology and software development for its own sake because it's cool in Finland and money is being thrown at it? No, be frank, be honest to us.
I think every technology has its place. I think there's amazing technology being developed. I mean, we've seen it here at the conference with all kinds of fantastic technology. But it's about how we use it. Like, for instance, the presentation from Nokia. If you're going to implement a system-wide change to an organization where it could be misconstrued or thought that you're using my data for a certain reason, there's sensitivity there. Sure. And that sensitivity builds barriers. And so we need to break down those barriers by really acknowledging the individuals that are going to be using the systems and making sure that we take care of their concerns, take care of their thoughts. If we get rid of the concerns, it turns into opportunity. But we do need to address those concerns because they do exist in every IT implementation on the face of the earth, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.